sniffing glue, buzzing gas, smoking cannabis, smoking heroin. These people hung around in the same area as we did, and we were a gang. At the age of 18, heroin flooded the area that I lived and took everyone by surprise. Literally every single one of my friends at the time started using heroin, as did I eventually.
What sort of parents did you have?
Strict. Strict. Like, really strict. They were always strict. My mum would not think twice about scalping my arse. My arse was red raw.
What were your brothers like?
Harder. Harder. For fuck's sake, harder! Yes! Fucking harder! Fucking useless! Get your shit together and hit harder! Yes! You fucking useless cunt! Yes! I said fucking harder! Listen to what I'm fucking saying. When I say go harder, you go harder, alright? Yeah. Yes! Yes! Fucking come on!
My older brother was a bit of a bully to me. He didn't like me very much because I was always hanging around the same friends as him. We were all in the same gang, so he didn't like the fact that I was always there and I was ready to grass him up to my mum. If ever he'd done anything and I seen it, whenever he went to hit me or beat me, I would have some leverage and say, well, you can't hit me because I just seen you kicking that window and smashing it. And I'll tell mum that it was you that done it. So that used to get me out of a few beatings. Not for long. I received a lot of beatings from my older brother. I know that he loves me, and I knew that he loved me back then, even although it didn't always feel like it. He was the oldest, and he was the most unruly. He had the most respect in the gang, more than certainly what I did anyway. I know he was older, but some of the things that he done, I'm not going to incriminate him, but some of the things that he done in the gang made him a bit crazier than I was ever going to be, but I was still tolerated because I was his little brother. I realised I was addicted to heroin probably after about 4 weeks of taking it every day and night. I had become ill quite badly. I was suffering from bad stomach cramps, migraines, shivering, my eyes were watering, and it felt like something that I've never ever felt before, I'd never experienced before, and that was when I first realised that maybe I'm addicted to heroin. That was when I first started thinking about suicide. Didn't want to be here. I was using drugs, using heroin as a way of escape. I didn't think about my daughter when I was on heroin. I didn't think about my daughter when I was on all the other drugs. I wasn't crying out for help. I used to cut my arms, and that was a cry for help. I remember putting the pills in the bowl, saying goodbye in my head to my family. I'm actually going to start welling up now. I wasn't expecting that. Right. I remember saying goodbye to my family in my head, and I'd put REM in the hi-fi, automatic for the people. And Everybody Hurts came on. And Everybody Hurts is a sad song. People associate that song with it being a sad song, and I did for my whole life. I've been a huge fan my whole life. And I heard that song, and that was a moment when I was going to do it. I heard it and I knew, said Everybody Hurts, this is the song. and I was saying goodbye, and I was thinking of people that I'm going to miss. Then I had all these tablets in a big blue bowl, hundreds of them. I had my water ready. I could probably take about 6 or 7 tablets in one gulp, so it was only going to take maybe a dozen handfuls to be able to make sure I took enough tablets to do the job right. I lived alone, doors were locked, lights were out, nobody was going to find me. And then Michael Stipe, the third verse at R.E.M., Everybody Hurts, tells me to hold on. 3 times, 4 times. He kept singing it to me. I didn't believe that it was just a song that was being played. I believed that he knew what I was about to do, and he was singing directly to me and telling me to hold on. And I genuinely believed it. And I'm so thankful that right at that moment in time when I needed him to sing something to me that was going to sink into my head, into my heart, that he sung it, and I listened. I listened to him, and I woke up the next morning.
So how many times did you unsuccessfully try to quit heroin?
So I was unsuccessful quitting heroin 13 times. And each time I tried to quit, it was physically very demanding. Most of those 13 times was through not being able to source heroin, wasn't through choice. So I was left anxious, irritable, angry, and I couldn't continue functioning in my life until I'd seeked out heroin. I turned a corner from the point of me realising that I could choose not to be on heroin. It was an instant moment in my life where I began to dream. I began to dream about my future, which I didn't believe that I had one up until that point. So I dreamed about my future, I made plans for my future, and that's really where the whole motivation came from, that these plans and dreams that I was going to put into place. The 14th time, there was a massive difference because I had attended a course about my mind, about how my mind works. That was something that I never believed that I had control over for those 13 times. And on the 14th time, I knew that it was my choice to be taking heroin, no one else's. I believed it. It wasn't something that somebody had just said to me and I was trying to make it a reality. I believed it. And I knew when I decided that morning to stop taking heroin, I knew I was going to achieve it. I started looking to fitness. I knew I was under 8 stone. The doctor had told me I was going to die from malnutrition before heroin because I wasn't eating. So I had lost so much weight. Then when I started to get better, I started to eat loads. Go down at my mum's every night. She would make me tea every night, and I would eat my mum's and I would eat any leftovers. I would eat everybody's food. Then I very quickly, in the space of weeks, started to put weight on. I got the weight on, then I started exercising. I started running all over Edinburgh, along the beach, round Arthur Seat, along Princes Street, along the West End, miles and miles. I was a skeleton at one point. I put all the muscle on, got really fit, got the job, started working, earning money again. Then I needed something. I needed something in my life that would help define me, these changes that I'd made in my life. I wanted to show everyone. I wanted to prove, not just to myself, I wanted to prove to everyone that I had changed. So I chose to join the army. I was 30 years old, 2010. I went down to start basic training to become a guardsman in the Scots Guards. Crazy hard, mentally and physically. one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I still had that stubborn mindset that I can achieve anything in my life. I just took basic training one day at a time, and I didn't actually think about what I was achieving whilst I was doing it. Till passing out parade, down in Catterick, hearing all my family, hundreds of